In this episode, I'm taking you on a weekend trip through the heart of American history, Washington DC. We're going to explore all the iconic landmarks that define this nation, from the majestic Lincoln Memorial to the powerful Capitol building. But that's not all. We're also taking a special trip outside of the city to Mount Vernon, the historic home of George Washington. Get ready to walk in the footsteps of the first president, soak in the rich history, and experience the vibrant culture of DC. I'm Hamo, and I love roaming around cities, getting my steps in, and seeing some awesome stuff. Washington DC is iconic, and I had to see it with my own eyes. I have no idea what to expect, but as a history buff myself, I think I'm going to love it. Let's dive into this adventure. How futuristic does this subway look? We are meeting our good friends Adam and Stephanie from Road Unravelled at a very trendy local cafe called Commonwealth Joe. Great coffee with trendy vibes in here, right by the subway too. These guys were on my Winging It Travel podcast, episode 32, check that out, and they very kindly agreed to meet us to show us around their home city of Washington DC. There she is, early doors, Capitol Hill, but we'll come to that later in the episode. I must confess, it's pretty surreal seeing all these iconic landmarks that you see on TV as a child, and what a great day to explore it all. First up is walking the National Mall. On one end you have the towering Washington Monument, a 555-foot tall obelisk that offers panoramic views of the city. As you walk west, you'll pass the solemn World War II memorial, reflecting the sacrifices of a generation. Continuing further, you'll reach the reflecting pool, which beautifully mirrors the Lincoln Memorial at its far end. This place is great to sit down and reflect in the sunshine, and as you can see, it's very popular with tourists. I love the fountains as it gives you that serene feel, perfect for some reflection. This area is not just about monuments, it's also home to the Smithsonian museums, where you can explore everything from natural history to space exploration. The National Mall is more than just a park, it's a symbol of American ideals and a gathering place for historic events. From presidential inaugurations to civil rights marches, whether you're there to sightsee, reflect, or simply enjoy the outdoors, the National Mall offers a profound connection to the nation's past and present. One of the more poignant looking memorials is the Korean War Memorial, as you can see here, a bit unurban for me actually. Next up is the iconic Lincoln Memorial. Designed in the style of a Greek temple, it features 36 massive columns, each representing a state in the Union at the time of Abraham Lincoln's death. Inside you'll find a towering statue of Lincoln himself, seated and gazing out over the National Mall. The statue is 19 feet tall and carved from white Georgia marble, capturing Lincoln's calm yet resolute demeanour. It's the site where Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his famous I Have a Dream speech in 1963, so it's a significant place for historical events. I do wonder what he would think now. And as you can see, don't expect to get close to the White House, it's pretty closed off, which is what you would expect these days. But we hung around and got as many photos as possible from different angles. After a great day exploring, we headed for aircon and much needed caffeine. This is where we said goodbye to our friends Adam and Stephanie too. Thank you so much for showing us around. But we are not finished yet, as we have a date at the Library of Congress. But before that, let's take another look at Capitol Hill. The US Capitol, located on Capitol Hill, is the epicenter of American democracy. This grand neoclassical building is where the United States Congress meets to create and pass laws. It's recognizable by its massive white dome, which dominates the skyline and serves as a symbol of the nation's government. Again, just absolutely iconic, and it's quite surreal seeing it from only meters away. Let's make our way to the Library of Congress, and we booked online for a later slot of 4 p.m. This is free to book, and I'll advise doing this in advance so you can plan your day of sightseeing. And this is meters away from the Capitol Hill, and it's the largest library in the world and a treasure trove of knowledge, history and culture. Established in 1800, it serves as a research arm of Congress and is open to the public, offering access to a vast collection of books, manuscripts, maps, photographs and more. Emma is a librarian, so this is right up her street and a bit of a dream for her, as there's so many books in here to explore. And a great day of exploring the sights of Washington DC, and I felt like I barely touched the surface, but that just means I need to go back and check out the rest of the museums and sites. Time for an evening stroll and dinner in Alexandria Old Town. Alexandria's Old Town is located just across the Potomac River from Washington, D.C., and it's a charming and historic district that was founded in 1749, and it's well preserved. Its 18th and 19th century architecture, cobblestone streets and vibrant waterfront. As you stroll through the Old Town, you encounter a mix of colonial era buildings and modern boutiques, restaurants and galleries. King Street is the main thoroughfare and is lined with brick sidewalks and historic lampposts, creating a picturesque setting for the exploring of the area's many shops, cafes and landmarks. The atmosphere is quite quaint and inviting, with the historic charm of the district blending seamlessly with its lively contemporary vibe. And Adam and Stephanie very kindly took me out to dinner for a blue crab sandwich, and I absolutely loved it. Thanks guys so much for your hospitality again. Today I'm off to Mount Vernon to see George Washington's mansion. Got some cool recommendations, really looking forward to checking out the whole place, and the special graffiti at the end. That looks super cool. Let's go. Mount Vernon is located along the banks of the Potomac River in Virginia and is the historic plantation home of George Washington, the first president of the United States. The sporting estate offers a captivating glimpse into the life of one of America's most iconic figures. I'm staying in National Harbour, and the Uber took about 20 minutes, costing about $20 one way. And the entrance fee to this estate is $28 for one adult. The centrepiece of Mount Vernon is the mansion itself, a grand yet modestly designed home that reflects Washington's status as both a leader and a gentleman farmer. But how grand does this look from a distance? Just entered the grounds of Mount Vernon, so now going to go and check out his mansion, George Washington's. Lovely set of grounds, cut grass, the smell of the summer in the air. It's looking really cool. Looking forward to checking out this whole place. Don't know much about the geezer, to be fair, apart from he was the first one. So let's see what they say about him. I'm sure it's going to be good. And stunning views for a cup of tea here in the evening. The mansion, built in the distinctive Georgian style, is painted in a soft white with green shutters and a red roof, exuding a timeless elegance. Inside, the rooms have been carefully restored to look as they did during Washington's time, filled with period furniture, art and personal artifacts that provide insight into his daily life and the era in which he lived. Let's go and take a look inside the mansion. Whilst checking out the mansion, we had a guide explaining every room and who visited there. If you have any questions, ask them, as they are super knowledgeable, and you can book a time when you enter the museum at the start to book this tour. One thing I do remember from the guide is that the dining room that was painted green was because Washington believed that it helped with his digestion. Not sure that's true. We finished in the kitchen, which was built outside of the mansion, as Washington didn't like the smell of food in the house, so he made his slaves cook out there for most of the day. Beyond the mansion, Mount Vernon's grounds are expansive and beautifully maintained. The estate includes lush gardens, outbuildings such as stables and a smokehouse, and a working farm that showcases the agricultural practices of the 18th century. And one of the most moving sights of the property is the tomb where George and Martha Washington are buried. This simple brick mausoleum set in a serene wooded area is a place of reflection and tribute to the nation's founding father. You can see on the walls here the engraves of initials from the soldiers who were posted there to guard it during obviously bored times. And more importantly, nearby you can visit the Slave Memorial and Burial Ground, a solemn reminder of the enslaved people who lived and worked at Mount Vernon. This is the most important memorial on these grounds, as the treatment of slaves is abhorrent and people still want to go back to those days, can you believe? Rest in peace to everyone who succumbed to this tragedy.
Yeah, I just checked out the tomb of George Washington, so that's very interesting. 25 family members behind him with his wife Martha, and then the very important slave tomb just down the way there, which is very important to go and see because they stayed here for years and years and years, all through the 18th and 19th century, and they've got a little monument there which was put there in the 80s, so way too late, but good to see and good to pay some respects to the people who worked here forcefully. But interesting grounds, yeah. Don't know much about George Washington, but I've got an idea of how he lived, what his viewpoints are, and why he was the first American president.
I then checked out the quarters where male and female slaves lived, and again it is grim. You can't fathom how someone could treat people like this. And I took a walk through the mansion grounds and headed towards the Potomac River to get some stunning views to reflect on my trip.
Yeah, not too bad.
Mount Vernon also features a museum and education centre that delves deeper into his life, leadership and legacy. Through interactive exhibits, films and rare artefacts, visitors can gain a comprehensive understanding of his contributions to the founding of the United States and his enduring influence of the nation. A visit to Mount Vernon is both an educational and emotional journey, I think, offering a unique opportunity to connect with American history and to see the personal side of George Washington. The estate's beauty, historical significance and peaceful setting make it a must-see destination for anyone interested in the early history of the United States. And to finish this episode, I thought I would show you National Harbour. There isn't much to say apart from its popular Ferris wheel on the water, and it's a place for conventions, but Silver Diner is an absolute gem and a favourite of mine. I was there for breakfast and dinner most days, and my hotel was the AC Hotel National Harbour, which was very comfortable and reasonably priced. If you want to read more about my time in Washington DC, then read my blog below. Overall, Washington DC is a cool city with much to see and do. The history is incredible, the museum options are endless, and there are iconic sites everywhere you look. You can spend a week here checking out as much as you want and still have more to see next time you visit, but having day trips to Alexandria and Mount Vernon break the trip up, and it's a great place for a weekend visit. And a special thanks to Adam and Stephanie from Road Unravelled for showing me around their home city. Cheers! Please follow and subscribe on my YouTube channel today, and let's go and see the world. Cheers, Hamo.